Here's a question.
Well, I posed
Here's a question. Let's have a real question. Can men and women work together in the workplace?
Yes, I do it.
How do you know?
Because I work with a lot of women.
Right. Well, it's been happening for, what, 40 years? And things are deteriorating very rapidly at the moment in terms of the relationships between men and women. It's like we don't know if men and women can work together successfully.
But in what ways? Because
in the sexual harassment way.
Because 40 years ago I would have been, well, I don't know, if I was a white man, I would have been Jacqueline's boss and I could have done whatever I wanted, right? And that there would be almost no recourse that a woman who was working under me would have. Now they have some recourse. I mean, is that a...
There was recourse back then, too. You could take people to the police.
Do you think that was happening a lot? I mean, like,
I think it's a dreadful thing to have to go to the police if you're being sexually assaulted.
If you feel like there's a reduction in harm, right? That things are better. So you feel like right now the atmosphere in corporate workplace is the exact same that it was 40 years ago?
No, but I'm not sure. I'm not saying that it's any better.
It's not any better.
Well, maybe it is.
What is? I guess not to ask you to sort of prove a negative, but I think that there is plenty of evidence if you look at all the stories that are coming out. Do you not feel like any of the stories that you've heard about what Hollywood is like, do you feel like that's not evidence that this is a problem?
Evidence that Hollywood is a problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I look at Hollywood, all these people coming out of Hollywood talking about how sexual misbehavior is a problem, and I think people in Hollywood are talking about that, they've been capitalizing on sexual misbehavior for like 100 years. But
that, I mean, look, those are unrelated in a lot of ways. Yeah, like they're, you as a professor should know like about correlation and causation. Like you're basically saying, well, you know, there have been movies with sex in it, therefore a PA on the set of a movie, of course, should be expected to be sexually harassed.
No, I'm saying
no, those two are separate worlds in any sort of pure logical sense. Like that is just a classic mix-up of correlation and
why are they separate worlds? We don't know how to draw the boundaries. Because so here's the question.
Do you feel like any movie that has, like, if you talk about sex in your classroom, or if you talk about sort of sexual behavior in your classroom, and another classroom does not talk about sexual behavior at all, you feel like your classroom would have a higher chance or a higher incidence rate of sexual assault or harassment?
No, but I would say that if I was part of an organization that built entire dozens of careers on sexual provocativeness, I would be very careful about like waving the ethical flag in the sexual wars. So you think Hollywood doesn't exploit sex? Hasn't the feminists been saying that for 30 years? The entire entertainment industry does nothing but exploit women sexually. Is that true or not? And if it is true, then aren't they contributing to the problem? And if they're contributing to the problem, then where's all the ethical...
But you're arguing at that point that Hollywood is one sort of totemic idea, that it is one sort of... that a woman who works in entertainment must then like pledge allegiance to this idea of sort of totemic Hollywood and not come out and give her story. Like you're saying that she's like somehow complicit in all of it.
The degree to which we're all complicit in what's going on is unspecified. I said already, you know, we don't know how to have an adult conversation about sex. It's not surprising. It's not the least bit surprising. So,
but I know, like, so then, what is it then? Like, because this seems to be like the sort of collectivist thinking that you rail against. You know, you're saying that Hollywood is one thing, and that Hollywood made its own bed, and therefore Hollywood should not speak about this issue because they're the ones that were pushing this agenda.
No, it isn't that they shouldn't speak about it.
Or that they
should speak carefully about it.
Authority to
they should speak carefully about it.
Do you feel like they're not speaking carefully?
Absolutely, they're not speaking carefully. Not in the least.
What is out of control about it?
Well, trial by public opinion, I suppose, is part of what's out of control about it.
Trial by public opinion? Do you think that's what's happening?
Yeah, to some degree, sure. It's very easy for people to come forward with accusations and demolish someone's reputation. That's trial by public opinion.
So, I mean,
and we don't have any conversation about the other side of the coin. You don't think women manipulate men sexually for advancement in the workplace?
Do you not think that there has been any sort of pushback against this Me Too movement at all?
Yeah, there's been some.
Okay, so then what do you mean we don't have conversations about the other side? It seems like every time I read any sort of publication, it's split more or less 50-50 and actually increasingly more towards like maybe this thing is out of control. It seems like that narrative is certainly out there.
Yeah, true. It has started to emerge in the last couple of weeks. That's true. Yeah.
So then...
I don't understand. I guess I don't understand the question exactly.
Well, my question is essentially that like when you...
Is there sexual harassment in the workplace? Yes. Should it stop? That'd be good if it did. That'd be good. Will it? Well, not at the moment it won't, because we don't know what the rules are.
Do you think men and women can work in the workplace together?
I don't know.
Without sexual harassment?
We'll see.
We'll see. How many years will it take for men and women working in the workplace together?
More than 40.
To get a sense. More than 40?
We're new at this.
We're new at this. Absolutely.
We're completely new at it. It's only been a couple of generations. That's part of the problem, right, is that we don't know what the rules are. Like, what? Here's a rule. How about no makeup in the workplace?
Why would that be a rule?
Why should you wear makeup in the workplace? Isn't that sexually provocative?
No.
It's not?
No.
Well, what is it then? What's the purpose of makeup?
Some people would like to just put on makeup.
Why?
I don't know why.
Why do you make your lips red? Because they turn red during sexual arousal. That's why. Why do you put rouge on your cheeks? Same reason.
So your argument...
I'm not saying that you shouldn't wear makeup.
No, I'm not saying that. But you're saying that
I'm saying we don't know what the rules are.
Makeup in the workplace, that they have sexualized themselves in a way.
That's what makeup's for. That's self-evident. Why else would you wear it?
When women put on makeup in the workplace, when they make their lips red, when they sort of put on rouge, right? That when they enter that workplace, if a man notices that there is sort of a complicitness with which the woman has said, I am going to sexualize myself in the workplace, and therefore whatever comes will come.
No, I didn't say the last part of that. I didn't say so whatever comes will come. But I think the issue of complicitness, how about high heels?
I mean, look.
How about high heels? What are they for?
What about high heels?
What about them? They're there to exaggerate sexual attractiveness. That's what high heels do. They tilt your pelvis forward so your hips stick out. That's what they do. And they tighten up your calf muscles. They're a sexual display. Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't use sexual displays in the workplace. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that that is what they're doing. And that is what they're doing.
So what is the relevance then to like sexual harassment in the workplace then if you can't make...
Well, the Maoists put everybody in uniforms to stop that sort of thing from happening. Men wear uniforms. That's the way they wear suits.
I guess I'm not seeing the sort of coherence of the thought that you're putting together then, because...
What are the rules that govern sexual interactions between men and women in the workplace?
Yes.
The answer is, we don't know. Right. So I'm throwing out some questions. How about makeup? Oh, that's okay. Is it? Why? Why is it okay?
Well, I would think that there's certain ownership over one's body that they can take without...
How about negligees?
Well, look, if you
that's going too far.
If you had a workplace with negligees, I think that there would be some sort of standard idea that maybe that would be a sexualized...
Okay, so there's some line between lipstick and negligees that we don't want to cross. Okay, fair enough. Where exactly is the line?
Well, I think that, you know, much like Justice Scalia said with pornography, it's something that you can feel, or that you know it when you see it. I would say that maybe that sort of, but you know, what's confusing to me for, you know, and I really do just mean this in sort of a debate sense, which is that like these sorts of big collective ideas, they're things that you feel like are sort of derived through evolution, that people do come to a consensus that is meaningful. I don't think that anyone would say that wearing makeup to the office is in some ways like sexually deviant or something like that, or that it's inviting a sort of atmosphere of sexuality within the workplace.
I would say that. The second part, sure. It's exactly what it's doing. Okay, why else would you wear lipstick?
Complete the thought for me then, because that's the part that I'd like for you to do. Like, complete the thought. A woman...
I'm not saying that women shouldn't do it. And I'm also not saying that it should be banned. But I'm saying that you're absolutely naive if you don't think that that has anything to do with sexuality.
Or sexual harassment? Does it have something to do with sexual harassment in the workplace?
I don't know. Because I don't know what the rules should be that govern the interactions between men and women in the workplace.
I don't believe
Should people be allowed to flirt in the workplace?
Do you feel that, let's just, yes or no question, do you feel like women wearing makeup in the workplace contributes to sexual harassment in the workplace?
Sure, it contributes.
And so what should be done about that? You as a clinician who believes that there should be prescriptive ideas that don't mandate behavior, but that will guide behavior.
I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is.
Do you feel like women shouldn't wear, do you feel like a serious woman who does not want sexual harassment in the workplace, do you feel like if she wears makeup in the workplace that she is somewhat being critical?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do think that.
Okay, let's move on.
I don't see how you could not think that. It's like makeup is sexual display. That's what it's for. You say, well, I want to look more attractive. It's like, what do you mean by attractive exactly?
So then what is a better outcome for you then? A workplace with no sexual harassment, where women wear uniforms and don't wear makeup, much like the Maoists, like you were saying, or a sort of freer workplace in which sexual harassment is an inevitability because women wear high heels and makeup?
Well, I don't say that sexual harassment is an inevitability because women wear high heels and makeup. I didn't say that.
Or that it is more likely?
I said that it contributes to the sexualization of the workplace.
What's the difference between more likely and that?
Okay, more likely. I'll go with that.
Yeah, more likely, right?
Sure, okay.
Okay, so which one do you prefer?
I don't prefer either of them. Oh, which one of those two would I prefer?
Yeah.
Oh, I prefer the one where people have the freedom.
And so within that, so we've gotten to that point, that people should have freedom to wear makeup, right? But that will inevitably lead to, not inevitably, that it is more likely that sexual harassment happens in the workplace. Isn't that sort of saying that if women wear, like, how is that not saying that if women wear makeup in the...
That isn't what I said. Like, you're pushing it past what I said by a substantial margin.
Sure,
I said that we don't understand the rules that govern the interactions between men and women in the workplace, right? We don't understand the rules. And so I was pushing a limit case. That's what I was doing. I wasn't saying women shouldn't wear makeup.
No, I was
saying
never
we
saying
could
that
have
you
a
said
question
that either,
about,
though.
there should be a question raised about that. And there is often. I mean, companies have dress codes, let's say, you know, and they have a reason for that. But the fact that we got tangled up in this conversation is an indication of exactly how difficult it is to have a reasonable conversation about exactly what rules should govern the interactions between men and women in the workplace.
I would object to that a little bit, because I think the reason why this conversation has been difficult is because, like, there are certain things where you'll just punt and you'll say, I'm not saying that, and you'll try and be very hyper-specific. And now, look, there are examples of that where I feel like you were right. Like, I feel like the Kathy Newman article, or the Kathy Newman interview, I felt like a lot of that she put words in your mouth. I don't feel like I'm doing that. In fact, I've been extremely careful not to.
I'm definitely not accusing you of that.
Okay, so
I'm just saying that these sorts of conversations are difficult, not that you're making it unduly difficult, because I don't think you are.
Sure. So I guess, look, this is a test case, right? Like, we are not here to say, like, Jordon Peterson believes that this is true. We are talking about a specific test case. Like, we agree, or not we agree, you are arguing that makeup is sexualized, high heels are sexualized, right? When they enter a workplace, the workplace has a higher preponderance of becoming sexualized. Right?
Yes.
How do we not then take the next step and say that, ergo, if we want to get rid of sexual harassment in the workplace, that your belief is that women should not wear high heels or makeup in the workplace?
Oh, because there's other potential solutions. People could, you could allow for a certain amount of sexual tension and not act on it in a reprehensible manner. I mean, look, let's say you're married to someone, right? You go to a party. Yeah. Okay, you go to a party. Do you ever flirt?
I mean, I don't go to parties.
Oh, okay. Do you ever flirt at all?
No, honestly not.
But do you know how?
But that is, no, not really.
Okay, well,
I mean,
so,
I'm a
so that's
example.
not so good.
Yeah.
Well, look, one of the things that's enjoyable about the interactions between men and women, even if you're married, is an element of flirtatiousness that can underscore the interaction. Sure. Okay, you don't want to get rid of that. It's too tyrannical to get rid of that. But you're playing with fire. You have to know that you're playing with fire. And so there's going to be some sexual provocativeness in the workplace, let's say, both ways. But you're playing with fire. And you need to know what the rules are. We don't know what the rules are.
Okay, how about, what if I said it is okay to flirt with your coworker from time to time, but, you know, don't grab them in the privates?
Well, that seems, you know, I think we could agree that might be a reasonable start, right? But then, of course, you still have the problem of exactly what constitutes acceptable flirting.
Do you feel like the majority of people then who are sort of in this Me Too movement right now, who have been speaking out, I mean, do you really think all of them are saying that you can't flirt at all? You know, or do you think most of them are saying, you just don't grab me in the privates? Because I just, as somebody who also has read about this, who's studied it quite a bit, who has followed it very intensely, it really does seem like the message is like, hey, like, you know, don't pull your robe off, don't grab me in the boobs.
No, I think it's worse than that.
You do?
Yeah, well, look at what happened with NBC. Now you're supposed to report your coworkers if you suspect them of romantic entanglements.
That's been true about American, like, I mean, that is one symptom.
But this is a policy now.
It is. It's a policy at one company about sort of this industry-wide
Yeah,
about
and
this
part of the
industry-wide
response to this.
problem.
Yeah, it's a response to it, but it's a bad response. You said, like, is it only about not being grabbed? It's like, no, it's not only about that.
If it was only about not being grabbed, would you be okay with it?
Well, I'm not in favor of people being involuntarily grabbed. I'm not in favor of sexual harassment or sexual assault, and not in the least. I think I already told you what I think. I'm a sexual conservative.
Sure.
I don't think people should have sex on the first date. I think they should be very careful with sex, right? So I'm not in the camp of let's grab each other under the mistletoe at the Christmas party, because what the hell? I'm not in that camp. I'm in the be bloody careful camp, and don't step out of line, and don't have designs on your secretary when you hire her. I think that's all appalling. But I don't think we're capable of having an adult conversation about it. Not as a culture, not even a bit.
Let's say that the result of all of this, of the Me Too movement, is that perhaps there are some policies which might strike a sort of civil libertarian, such as yourself, or somebody who believes in individual freedom, as a bit oppressive, but that women stop getting grabbed in the privates.
I don't think that's what will happen.
This is the collateral damage from that.
Yeah, no,
is that not a win? Is that not a win for somebody who doesn't think that women should be grabbed in the privates?
I don't think that's what will happen.
Why?
Because I don't think that the ideas that are being put forth have the kind of power that will transform people's behavior in a reasonable manner.
Okay, that's very vague. Can you just
no,
talk
it's
about
not.
It is. You've essentially said, well, I don't believe that the ideas are going to work.
They're not concrete enough.
They're not concrete enough?
No.
I mean, I think that almost every big media organization has specifically rewritten their policies in the past few months with very concrete examples of things that are not okay. I mean, like, do you not think that those are concrete enough?
Well, maybe. It's possible. I don't know the policies well enough to be certain. My sense generally is that, like, what would you say it? Outraged mob activism generally doesn't translate very well into intelligent policy. But, you know, it's possible that
but it does
something...
lead to change.
We'll see.